Hey guys, what's going on, Flawless family? Tonight we're gonna do this live quite differently. First off, hello to everybody that's been waiting. Big shout out to Frank, AJ, everybody who has the link. It should be in the Discord for everybody who wanted to join. It's gonna be a free for all tonight. We're gonna talk geckos for approximately 45 minutes to an hour. See where it goes. We don't want to occupy your evening too long, but we want to have a little fun tonight. Um, right away, we're going to jump right into it with Simon as well as Drew. They're a couple of our Patreon members, but tonight is a free for all. So if you guys are interested in trying to come on for as much space as we may have on the screen, if you message us, I'll try to monitor our Instagram and I'll send you over the link. Again, pop in, show your face, rep your brand, and talk geckos. This is going to be an inclusive conversation. We're not going to estrange anyone for your opinions or thoughts. Just hope you elaborate, and hopefully we can learn something tonight. So without further ado, bring on Simon and Drew. We were talking briefly in the back. What's going on, guys? Simon, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Simon.
How long you been breeding or getting into the Crested Geckos?
I have actually not done any breeding whatsoever yet, but I've about 2.5 years of collecting the geckos.
All right, and it's been an educational process, I'm sure, because we see a lot of questions and we love being able to assist in certain areas that we do know things, but we don't know it all. So it's quite interesting. What's going on, Drew? You guys introduce yourself.
So I'm Drew.
And I'm Katie.
So we kind of formed last year, just coming up on a year of a real business. I've had animals all my life, so I ended up with a crested gecko about a year and a half ago, and now we're up to almost 40 or 50.
Wow. Are those full grown, full breeding, or most of them are breeding?
Most of them are. We've got several littles that are up and coming for future projects.
Awesome. What kind of drew you to the Crested Geckos? I'm sure you guys heard how we kind of stumbled onto it with the kids.
You go to a reptile show and they're everywhere. And I never really had anything to do with them. It was like, oh, look, another lizard. I had a bearded dragon, had a bunch of frogs and stuff when I was younger. Ended up just somebody had one out and I walked up, held it, and went, I really like this. So I ended up impulse buying my very first one that day and started taking this one to some shows. She fell in love with them. Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah, at first it was a hard no for me. I was like,
it was a hard no for you. So it's comments like that. I love it. So we're gonna dig into that just a little bit and dissect it. So from your perspective, we brought you around the shows. What was a major kind of drawback initially from saying, "Oh wow, cute crested gecko"? What was the drawback for you?
I guess I just was really uninformed about them at the time, and I didn't really like the smell that came with the whole show as a whole. And I haven't really been an animal person my entire life. I have only had pet dogs because of my parents. And so I just was like, let's stay away from the animals. But then I got more interactive with his gecko. And then eventually I was like, I kind of want one. And so I bought one. And then I was like, I want another one. And it just kind of grew from there. So.
Wow. And Drew, were there any initial drawbacks before diving in?
My initial drawback was the space that's required to properly house them. Bearded dragon, people say, you get 120 gallon or you go farther, but, there's other people that say put them in a 40 gallon. I won't start my spiel about that, but as far as arboreal creatures, it had been almost 10 years since I started. So my initial one was, well, how am I going to handle if you do go more than, you buy 2 or 3? Well, how much space do I have? And currently they're in one room. So give or take, how much of the room I get to have versus they get to have.
Oh, we know all about that.
Oh yeah.
So Simon, I know we have some very deep conversations from time to time, and your view is very unique when it comes to research, and you're a very patient individual. So, what were some of maybe the setbacks, or kind of steer away from initially getting started for you?
I mean, for me, I never dive into anything that I don't know. My mom made the mistake when I was 12 years old buying me my very first snake, which was, of course, a reticulated python.
Wow.
Knew nothing of what I was doing, loved the snake, but when it got to about 10, 12 foot, it's like, oh, what are we doing? And it's still getting bigger. So taking that approach, just making sure you do your research and things like that, going slow, not biting off more than you can chew. It's kind of been my motto, you know, and getting as much information from every source you can. Not only flawless crested geckos, but any podcast that I can consume, Clint's reptiles, anything scientific. There's so much out there that you can always get more information on. Uh, the Gecko Pod's been great. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's interesting because the way we got in, you have to be about things when you're dealing with Facebook. But,
yeah,
Facebook groups can really be a hidden gem. It really can. It can. You have to dig through some of the nonsense, not quite, get involved in the quote unquote BS from time to time, but take what you need from it on the research side of things and use it, or at least, in my opinion, educate yourself on seeing a different viewpoint. Everybody's not going to agree, just like you said, and we urge that. We're like, look, this is just how we do it. We're not going to say this is the only way or anything because we don't want to push our way on anyone. But we understand how a person could feel being new, um, and you're being told you have to do it this way because that way is successful for that person that's informing you or educating you. But sometimes you can take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and put it all together and make it your own. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of the times when you do that, sometimes you risk pissing some people off along the way. That's the
yeah.
side of it that I say that's not supposed to happen. It's like I think everyone should be free thinking. Well, how's your experience, Drew? As far as getting in Facebook groups for educational purposes.
So my day job is a social media guy. So I'm on Facebook all the time. Um, and I'm in, several groups and whatnot. For the most part, people are pretty open to, I'll say stupid questions, but to a new person, they're not stupid.
Right.
But I've never had really an experience that it's been like, you have to do it this way. Um, I have seen people in the comment section that will just rip people to shreds for
Yes.
for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's kind of I don't prey on the younger people in this world of reptiles. So when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, you're less experienced, but that doesn't mean you can't grow. Because I kind of was victim to the same thing when I first started in the group because I literally knew zero, like didn't even know that these existed, and then walked out of a show with one. So ended up in a group and asking some questions, and some people were kind of rude about it. But as far as learning from that group, I think that there's a lot of resources there that are, file sections and actual discussions with people that, have been helpful to us.
Right. Right. How about you, Simon, with the Facebook groups?
Um, I steer clear 100%. Um, I mean, you can always get good information, with the right group, but unfortunately, the toxicity. Uh, there's another Patreon member that's kind of had some bad experiences, and she would call me and be like, this person's saying this isn't what my
Oh yeah.
gecko is. And I'm like, well, you have to understand there's people out there that want to help, and there's people out there that want to troll.
Right.
So if you can't distinguish between the two, maybe it's best just not interact. Maybe you can read, you know,
Mhm.
you can always read the information and do that, but maybe not interact with them. It just, I find it's really hard to find a good group unless, you find one that's
Yep.
established and it's been there for a long time and you know the people. That's why I kind of like, I lean towards, doing the flawless family thing because there's resources here, there's plenty of people to ask that I can trust, and
Right.
that's the big thing that I kind of stay away from with Facebook groups is I don't know if I can trust them.
Right.
I can take everything with a grain of salt. I can absorb the information, but at the end of the day, it's one source. You can use it. Take
And
it for what it is.
you almost have to go into like a lurker type mode where
Yeah,
you're reading.
incognito.
I get that because that was us, kind of just reading through other people having situations and reading through and seeing how the situations may be handled or how they're handling the person or people. And I think sometimes you have, unfortunately, people are warriors and all this craziness. And it's like, all right, where's the help? Welcome everybody in. Because you know what, when we got in, we were set up for failure. I mean, we had, four little 8 to 10 gram crested geckos, and they told us, hey, feed them a couple crickets every day, put them all in the same enclosure.
Wow.
We're being
Oof.
told this from the profession. Luckily enough, I research everything to death, but, anyone else, in my opinion, if I would have took video of this, just a proud moment, we'll say a video and set up and post it online. Check out my gecko. I'm going to be crucified. Instead of
Cancelled.
somebody saying, "Hey, don't do that," this is what you should do, and that's part of what we want to be known for too. Not always attacking. We want to help. So some of this is exactly that. We want to be stable in the community. Offer it's a safe zone. I'll go as far as saying it's a safe zone, where, hey, I do X, Y, and Z. And we've all had it. It may be us that say, hey, this is what we do. But if we learn a year or 6 months down the road that something we're doing is not to the best of our animals' health and lifestyle, then we probably should change. And that part of, in my opinion, learning, living life. But I think I think it has its place, and maybe that's the place of the Facebook groups is going in, joining, and lurking and reading through the history. I've learned a lot
Yep.
through even the FBI. I think it's FBI group called.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people have customer service issues, big time customer service issues. I don't think that has anything to do really with Crested Geckos. It's just dealing with people, But I also think more, especially with technology, not the grandstand, but I think that platforms like YouTube and Discord and Zoom, more of that stuff is going to take over, I believe, because a face-to-face transaction, you can see a person's mannerisms, so things don't get lost in translation. When you're at a show, you're meeting, these different breeders, or you may be the breeder, and you're talking to potential customers, and things could be better understood than an email or a text message, I believe, where
Yeah.
it get taken out of context, and then you possibly lose a customer forever and don't even know why. And that can come from just being from different walks of life. It could be from different culture. Who knows? But I think putting it out there more and more, we can hopefully get down to the bottom of it and get more people involved in the Crested Gecko. You don't have to be a breeder to be involved in Crested Geckos, but you can have one or two or enjoy them, admire them from a distance, and watch the journey. We watch everybody that's out there trying to see what they got going on. And if we're not involved in a project, that doesn't mean we're going to hate that project. We just, maybe we're going to watch it and see how it progresses. You may get in, you may not. So this season, Drew, what program are you most excited about that you may be pairing up?
I think for me, what I'm most excited about isn't this season, because we've got a lot of Xanthic stuff that's going to grow out. Hopefully, looking to mature by next season, maybe a little bit later. So I'm really excited to get into that. That's been my fascination since we started. Right now, I got a couple of Lily projects going. We just got some awesome females in that I snagged on an AJD auction.
Nice.
So she fell asleep and she said, "I like those two." Fell asleep and I turned around and bought 3. So
Yeah, I've done it twice now, and every time I wake up, he's like, "I bought 3 more," and I'm like, "I need to stay awake."
Hey, at least your team.
Yeah.
But I have a real eye. I just enjoy high white tricolors. So the dark base orange, you got white straight up the sides. It's awesome. So
I have a new yellow project that I'm excited about.
Yeah, a really high white yellow is my very first one. Who we're trying to breed is a, I don't actually know what it is, but he's yellow, and so trying to see what he produces with the female that we've got for him. But I definitely think the high contrast line as far as what I'm most excited about. I don't know about you, but
we were going to bring that up later, but it's funny you say that because it's been so strict through, I guess, the perception of different breeders that, you show someone something, a gecko, and they're like, all right, well, it's a pinstripe. Or you show them the gecko, and they're like, okay, it's a harlequin. And then we get questioned as like the outside governing body, which we are not. Someone else's gecko, and our experience so far, a lot of the lines are being muddied as far as blended melting pot, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I really don't. But as far as having a definitive answer on every single gecko, I don't think there is one on every single gecko. To the eye, that since every gecko is different, you may see a gecko and you're like, okay, well, all right, that's full pin. All right, yep, that's a pinstripe. But then you have somewhere it's a pinstripe harlequin. You have everything present for both, morphs. But one breeder tells you it's a pinstripe, and the other breeder tells you it's a harlequin, and you're like, well, what is it? And you accept and say, well, it's kind of both, So I think it does suck because on the snake side of things, you have genetic testing, the sheds, and all that, which is very interesting. My man Jose over at Edge of Panic, he just getting into the Crested Geckos. He's into the ball pythons, but he was into the bully dogs for a while. We were into the dogs a decade ago, but they have pedigrees. So he's building a platform. He's an accountant, and he's building a platform where AKC, UKC, which is the well-known organizations that kind of governing bodies where you can kind of send your paperwork in and everything and have an ID, but you can kind of log it and start tracking from breeder to breeder. Hopefully it's well received. I think it can be very interesting. I just hope, unlike the dogs, you can paper hang dogs and say, hey, you had 5 pups, you get 6 numbers, 1 goal for each 5, and you have an extra that you give to something else. And it's just, start working on the ethics of it. But I think it's going in the right direction to a certain extent. But Simon, what's a project or breeding that you're excited about this year?
Like my big thing is Halloweens. So I stay XXX Halloweens are pretty much my jam. So I've got a female that's ready to breed right now, and I've got one that's about 10 grams away, and then I'm just waiting for my male to get a little bit more size because my girl's big. She's
Yes.
she pushing 80 85 right now.
Ooh.
So she's down
Wow.
4 grams. She's down
Down
4
4
grams.
He's like, wait, this is down 4 grams. She's making progress.
She licks the plate clean every day.
Oh my God.
So
Wow. I would have to say, 80 gram, I want to say the highest we've ever had, she maybe 78 is the highest. Wow, 80 gram, you're up there like Chewy, like Chihuahuas. Like,
yeah, my Chewy actually looks a little small next to her. So
Wow.
that's interesting.
she's huge. So, but I noticed we've been having her on a strict diet. We've been hand walking her every week, and we cut back her stuff because it doesn't matter how much I put in there or how little I put in there. It literally looks like there's nothing. Like I never put food in the bowl. She licks it completely clean. So,
Now, we speak a lot here and there with Robbie's Reptile. Big fan of a lot of the stuff that he's putting out as well.
yeah.
I mean, and that's another one, we have amazing conversation. I consider him a friend. We don't agree on everything, but we're friends.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. I didn't know until this year where he has a program where, or maybe most people do, where red is for sesame. And
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
that's what I've been hearing too.
So that's going to be something because we have red programs where most of our reds are with reds. Very rarely do we come outside of that other than our high whites. We bred a lot of our high whites into our reds because it's been genetic that a lot of that high white pattern and spread is passing over, and we're trying to get more of that into our reds. But now it's interesting to know that if the base color doesn't come out red, that if it's truly het red, that's another path to kind of at least document and keep track of. Which I was going to get to on your big girl. You may want to keep track of her offspring.
Yeah.
As the offspring, which is another thing of what I was following with Robbie. A lot of the bigger geckos, they have a bigger line of geckos out there that tend to carry that on through the offspring.
That's what I was wondering because she carries her weight pretty well, but I'm like the male that I got, he's about 45 grams, but I don't think he's up to weight yet.
He's not up for the task.
So I was gonna wait till the end of the year and we'll see then. So
Right.
It's like we have a male that's 75 grams, and I just look at all the females. I'm like, I mean, what do you do? And so I ended up snagging one. He came from Noel in North Carolina, and I mean, he's just big. Like he's not even fat, and it's just a massive.
Massive. That's massive.
Wow. So I ended up snagging a female that's got enough size on her that I'm confident in that. But I'm like everybody else. I'm worried you're going to kill someone.
Holy crap! So Drew, how many pairings total, or how many females will you be pairing this with?
I think right now we have 8 because we also do gargs. So I think 8 cresteds and 2 garg pairs, maybe 3, if the little girl that we have now is up to weight.
And Simon, I noticed your first year attempting to breed this year. How many are you going to try for?
I'm just gonna shoot for one. I've got another female that depending on her weight, we might try her, but it's just one of those. We'll wait and see. I'm not in a rush, so kind of I've been getting the itch, but I keep telling myself we'll do it safe, take our time,
And
enjoy it.
it's smart. It's definitely smart. Drew, another question for you. I mean, there's no wrong answer. We are who we are. But what method do you go about as far as parenting? Do you do groups? Do you do 1-to-1?
So I only have one male that I have ever put with more than one female. Everything else is one on one. But he takes to both girls fine. The only problem is like, who's the mom? I just,
Right.
you find two eggs and go, well. So that's why I try and stick to 1-to-1, just so that when we look at it, go, hey, did she lay? Well, we know who she was paired with.
Oh yeah. Oh, I understand. That's exactly why we do it the same way. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. But it really pays off for us because for those very same reasons. We know exactly obviously who the dad is, but we know exactly who the mom is. For every single baby that pops out.
Right.
As far as scaling, I know you said you're going to grow and you're excited about the years to come. What will be your ceiling roughly, or what is your happy medium number that you would be? I guess please.
I think that's kind of hard to answer because we
It
are
is.
both in college right now, so we're thinking about moving in like the next couple of months. So then we'll be able to upgrade size wise. So I think that's kind of hard to like determine right now because where we're at, we're confined to like very specific diameters. Where whenever we can re-pick where we live, we can rethink what we're doing.
Yeah. Rather than having to live in the same room with all of them, I can put them all in the other room and
Right.
just, I get my bedroom back. But I would say for me, the happy medium is probably, say, I think right now we've got 50 or something. So I'd say, maybe 70. I don't want it to be so much that it takes away from the enjoyment of it.
Right. Makes sense. But from 50 to 70 is like 3 months. 3 months. That's going to be right there. Oh. Now,
Yep.
Simon, I know you're quite different. You don't really have a goal number. You don't really have a scale. You're just gonna kind of let it do its thing and enjoy the ride along the way.
We're flying by the seat of our pants here. So I'm
Hey,
like,
get
almost
it.
everything I have is actually still growing out. So, you know,
And most of that stuff probably end up being ready all at the same.
yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. So,
Um, do this, Drew. When is your next show?
It's actually Sunday. So we're Eastern time. So it's Friday night, and we get to pack up everything this weekend and head out Sunday morning.
Okay. Okay. Where's that show gonna be at?
It's in Charleston, West Virginia.
Okay. How far is that from you guys?
It's only like 45 minutes. It's a relatively close location.
Oh wow! And I hope I'm not giving you the fifth degree. But what's the venue? What's the organization?
So it's the West Virginia Reptile Expo. Um, and it's at West Virginia State University. What else do you?
So this is it's like a regional show because the venue will change. So normally we're in like the tri-state area, so Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky are all accessible to us. And so this show is specifically West Virginia, but it alternates between Huntington, which is 10 minutes across the river, and that location in Charleston. But this one gets me kind of really excited because this is the biggest one in the history of the event with over 95 vendors, and we get to be one of them. We're maxed out, no more space. So
Yeah, and Tesla, who is also in this Patreon, she also will be there, so that's cool.
Yeah, she's like 10 minutes up the road from me. We found that out at the last one.
That's cool.
Ended up going to the same high school too.
Wow. Look, 6 degrees of
Yeah.
separation that we're talking about.
Yeah, really.
Small world.
Yeah. How many shows are you guys shooting for as far as for the goal? Are you wanting to do one every weekend, every other weekend, a couple times a year?
I think once we get more established in like our timeline, we'll probably look to do probably 2 weekends a month. Just so that we have time for each other still, in a mix with all the gecko and work and everything else. But
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Now, Simon, being that you've been through quite a few of the bigger shows now, you're at least there. Would a goal be to at least win the show?
Definitely. I keep having conversations with my mom about it, and she's like, "If Tinley has a 5-year wait list, she's like, put your name on it now."
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I mean, me living where I live, I kind of have the best of all the worlds. St. Louis is, stone's throw away. So is Schaumburg. So is Tinley. So I'm kind of in the right area for it.
It's so weird. Maybe because Schaumburg started after Tinley. But it's a different, you have your saying your regulars and everything that go to both. Really do. But it is a different crowd. It's a different environment. It's a different, urgent type of urgency to kind of, if you're trying to do business, you better get it done ASAP because you may walk away and what you thought you were going to get is gone.
Yeah.
Schaumburg is a little bit more laid back, definitely a lot more space.
Yeah.
A lot more space. But it seems, and I may be wrong, but it seems less pressing. But Tinley, different beast.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything. Closest I would say is maybe Daytona, and that's still not the same.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to plan a trip out and do like one of the Pomona shows or some out in Cali. Cause
That's a different beast too. In the Super Show, the one in Vegas, the crowd that comes through the door, it's very, very intense. Very intense.
Beating down the doors.
Absolutely. AJ even though they're saying the same thing. Yeah, they're at everything. They're at everything. They are awesome, amazing family.
Yeah, that's my goal. Even if we're not vending Tinley, I'm gonna pull out every stop I can get to get there in October.
In October, I like both. I like both March and October, but October, more people in the March show. I don't really see a difference on the business out of it, maybe in what you have to offer for production. But definitely the October show, if you want to put a label out there as far as like, I don't know, reference football, Tinley is like the Super Bowl, period. But between the two shows, yeah, October is going to be the bigger show. It's going to be the bigger show. Have you guys, Drew, have you faced any issues thus far, whether it pertains to feeding, the geckos in general, questions on repair, anything at all up to this point?
I think we definitely have a hard time getting our charcoals to eat for some reason. We find that they won't eat most of like the food we give them. We have to take extra special care and give them the fruit treat. Otherwise, they won't eat the insects we give them, and it's just very strange. We have 2 of them, and they just don't really want to eat what we give them.
Wow, and then both charcoals are the same exact thing. That's interesting.
Yeah, from different breeders. So, you know.
Do you think it may be more linked Possibly. How big are they? Are they small?
They're 20, 30 grams, like probably 25 to 30 grams. So I mean, they're
23.
they're like adolescent, but
Just lack a little food drive.
We end up having one of us has to break off from our. Yeah.
other problem that we found is there was a substrate that I was buying and using, and we would get a hatchling. You pull it out and its face is full of substrate, and I'm like, why are you eating this? And that seemed to be a recurring problem. So I just quit with buying that. I know you guys do the whole craft paper route, and we started putting them on paper towels, and whether you have to go and mist them every day, so what? But I don't know why they decided to eat their substrate. I've still yet to figure that out, because the adults were in the same thing and didn't care.
Simon looks like he knows something we might not.
I have a gecko that will bite anything that moves or
Yeah.
doesn't move. Anything could be a cricket, so it may or may not have been biting its own dirt. So she definitely got removed and put on paper.
Right.
So
Any other
Yep.
issues? Simon?
I have one gecko that's kind of I wouldn't say he's failing to thrive, but he's just very lethargic. And
Mhm.
I've had him for 6 months, but I mean I see him eat, but he doesn't eat often.
Right.
So I mean he'll go out, he'll eat one cricket. I'll put a handful in there, and he'll eat one, and then he's done.
Yeah.
So
Said maybe has sense of calcium. That's interesting. I don't know if crested geckos are like. I know leopard geckos. You can actually put out like a calcium powder for them, and when they eat it, they actually go up and lick the calcium powder. I don't know if crested geckos have that instinct.
yeah, it's
I don't
been really
know.
weird. He's the only one that's given me any issues. So I kind of hand glove him every day. He's my special project. So,
Exactly.
he gets tong fed, and he more than likely will probably have to be hand fed his entire life. But he's mine, so he's staying.
He may catch on. He may
Yeah.
catch on, especially if it's in the earlier stage.
So yeah, he's only about 13. He's about 13, 15 grams. So
Yeah. Anything that moves. Yeah, we have that problem as well. Anything that moves, and they're just gonna latch on to goodbye for your finger forever. Drew, are you guys? What other species do you guys work with other than the guards and the cresties? Is that it? Oh, I think they froze. They're going. I'm sure they'll chime right back in. But do you still have your retake?
I don't. I got rid of that. I gave it to a friend of mine that could handle it. After I got bit a couple times.
How bad was the bites?
They're pretty bad. I mean, I still have scars on my hand, so, and they can give you nerve damage. So if you, I didn't know what I was getting into. The food drive was real strong on her.
Oh my god! And don't when you get a certain size, you gotta start changing the prey, right? To like rabbits or larger prey.
Yep. And getting hooks, and like it was a chore.
Drew, I was wondering, what other species are you guys into other than the guards?
So I have to. I'm just weird about it. I can't do rodents at all. I'm fine with a parrot or a hamster, But I can't feed them. So anything that doesn't eat them. So we've got lychees, barks. She just got herself a new Chihuahua over this past weekend. So we're trying to get into that. Obviously, crested gargoyles. Thinking about venturing into the crimson giant day geckos. But I know that that's a whole nother beast. So trying to do my research first before we add anything else.
Yeah, right now we just have one as a pet, and it's fun to look at, but
Yeah.
The Chewies are awesome. The Chihuahuas, we love them.
yes.
The Leafies, I didn't mind them. They were cool. They would attack Audra. I mean, attack. She could walk by their enclosure. They're literally like it was hilarious. And she would be the one. She said she touched the cork bark or something. But we had quite the collection of lychees, and we ended up moving most of those out, or all of them out, and buying more and deeper into the Chihuahuas. We actually need to take more pictures of them. We have a bunch of, all of them are Pine Island, but they're pretty cool. They have their own little personality, which is way different. Not as aggressive as the lychees. The lychees are cool once you get them out. You get them out of their enclosure, they're pretty good. While you're reaching into their enclosure, they're very defensive, territorial.
Yeah. I don't like reaching my hand into a chainsaw, so.
Yeah. That's like the male that we have. The male that I have, he's never struck, he's never growled, he's never barked, nothing. But you pop that thing open, he's just sitting there, just grab it and go. Which I'm like, maybe this is meant to be, but I don't have a female for him yet, so he just kind of hangs out.
No, we never had any. Have you guys had any weird activities? Now, I'm not well informed on them. I've seen a ton of them. I'm not sure if they're the fast moving ones or they're really slow. I think the day geckos are the fastest.
Yeah, they can get.
Maybe the slower.
Yeah, they're quick.
If I'm correct, I think also if you grab the day geckos, you can actually harm
their skin. Yeah. You can they can like tear their skin off.
Yeah, they basically like deglove themselves, if you will.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So Travis says someone will eat calcium alone. I got you on that one. Definitely, Travis. Yeah. I know leopard geckos. With that buddy we did some research on it, and stand pretty much calcium, and they'll go eat up or consume what they need, which is interesting. I wish Crested were that bright, that intelligent.
But I don't know, something about their golden retrieverness just makes them so cute.
Oh yeah, they're quite adorable. I noticed one now, Crested geckos will eat less insects than humans. Like, I don't know. For us, it's been 50-50. I think to a certain extent, there's a low percentage of geckos that continue to eat bugs, as they grow to adults. Yeah, I think at some point they lose their bug drive. I don't think it's 100% of them, because we still have quite a few big breeder girls and males that eat bugs. But it sucks when they do lose their bug drive, because then they start growing slower.
Yeah.
Start growing slower. And I think any female that continues to eat bugs throughout adulthood, I think they won't be as susceptible to calcium crashes. Just an opinion, because they're getting them on a regular. Have you guys experienced or had any knowledge on calcium crashes? No.
Have not dove into that yet.
we've had 3 females years that have had first female we took to the vet. And thankfully enough, they explained everything, even though the information actually was online, but we were trying to go to the professional to make sure we knew what was what. And now, not only do we have the powder calcium, which I guess is still the same. Calcium is going to be calcium, just with D3 or without. But we also have liquid calcium, and you can use both, but we only use liquid calcium and have it in the fridge or whatever for if we have calcium crashes. To us, I believe it's faster. You hit 2 drops, a week. Normally, the second week you're boom, good to go. But you guys haven't had those issues, so I wouldn't worry about it too much either if your geckos are still on bugs.
Yeah. I'm like, most of mine, I'm like, I'll throw 5, 6, 15, 20, and they're all gone. So all of them will eat bugs like crazy.
Yeah. We check calcium sacks pretty much on our breeder female. After we recover eggs, pretty much. And then I think everyone, I hope they're not assuming, if your geckos are laying fertile eggs with thinner shells, where you can see that they're fertile, but the shells are not quite right, it's a good sign that they're not getting enough calcium. Check their calcium. We actually do it within. You kind of just rub the side of their mouth and they open up like they're about to bite you, and you get to see their calcium sacks. The half acre Joe. I only have one of them. People do it different ways. Yeah, and for that, we'll never say that that's wrong. We only use the liquid for the calcium crashes. We use the powder pretty much like once a month for the feeding. So on our schedule, we do it monthly. We'll make sure that day for the feeding, we'll add the calcium to all of their food and we basically up the calcium for that day for the month.
So you just put the liquid straight into their food?
No, the powder. So we do the powder straight into the food, mix it in with the rest of the powder food, and that's how we administer it. Pretty much for the entire collection once a month.
You do it. You just use like the regular without D3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they both, you have Rapashi or Pangea, they both have it on. Third, I gotta get the label of it. I'll post it later. But there's a third brand. It's a big tub of it as well. That's without D3. And then some people use the calcium powder with D3. We haven't had any issues to need to switch to the one with D3. I'm sure a lot of people have pros and cons to both. Travis, we had calcium once every other week. Yeah. And they use bee pollen. So we use bee pollen as well. That same day that we add the calcium, we add a scoop of bee pollen. We haven't seen any negative effects. We've seen a lot of obviously promoting better health for them. They grow faster, more robust. But then some people substitute. We were talking to Brian from Altitude. He doesn't use bee pollen. He uses honey.
That's what we use.
See, and so again, this is being inclusive. Everybody can get to the same finish line. It's like some people can try these things. If I were going into it knowing that we don't use honey and being apprehensive about it, if I know that you guys use honey and I know Brian uses honey, at least I know relatively that it's safe to use and to try it. So I think part of it is an educational thing.
Do you get any specific type of honey? Do you like get the organic, or do you just use off the shelf?
It's off the shelf at certain places. I just do Amazon, but it's like Nature Nate's. It's 100% just straight raw. I've had a few that didn't matter which food we gave them, they kind of snubbed their nose at it.
Mhm.
And I found that little bit of sweetness in there, aside from the other benefits, they tend to eat more.
Right. It's interesting. I think, the third person I've heard say that the sweetness from the honey improves their food drive. That's kind of something interesting to take note of. Especially now, I wonder if it would help the other two to kind of experiment with and without it. The charcoal that's been lacking a little bit of food drive. Interesting.
Yeah.
So for everybody that's just jumping in, we just basically hanging out tonight. We have probably another 10 minutes or so. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. Throw them in the comments. Or if you want to jump on for the last few minutes, you can inbox us on Instagram. We're going to try to do this on a regular basis, very informal. Hopefully get more people to show their face and put themselves out there and get comfortable with the community. Even hopefully get people that don't necessarily agree to come up and be nice to each other and kind of iron out issues. Maybe that'd be cool as well. Half acres, my gecko showing food.
Yeah, I haven't tried the bee pollen at all.
Yeah. Nice.
Or the honey. Like,
Lugard.
most of my geckos love the fig and insect, so.
Okay. And that maybe that's something we've drug our feet on. We're wholesaler, retailers for Pangea, Rapace, and BP Zoological, and Lagarde. We have yet to order from Lagarde as of yet. But we're looking at venturing off after we actually are trying it out.
See, I can't get any. None of my geckos will eat Pangea, or not Pangea, Rapace.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
That's how ours are.
Like if
they eat it
up, I have to do 50-50 with Pangea to even get them to taste it. So.
Huh. Do you use any other brand?
I don't.
Drew, have you guys used Lagarde yet?
We have not. I know she tried because she keeps like the more pet geckos at her house. So she said some of them will take the zoo med, but
we don't use it that often. That's only if dire need, and we couldn't get to the store to get Pangea.
So everybody else is on Pangea. We've tried Rapace, and they, like I said, they snub at it. But Lagarde, I have not yet, and I know what is Dallas's. I haven't tried that yet either, but I saw it.
Is it Sweet Reptile?
Sweet Reptiles, yeah. Sweet Reptiles.
We have to try that one.
Here in the States, yeah.
Now, is that coming out of Germany? Is that where that's coming from?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
They try honey. See, some people's geckos love the bee pollen, some won't. Ours, they love it. Rarely have any feeding issues. As far as with whatever we end up feeding, Rapace or Pangea. That was right there. Oh man.
There he is.
Yes. If you guys want to try it out, definitely hit him up. He has small packages he can get out to you rather quickly as well. And I believe it's 4 different flavors. And it's a pretty awesome price point. But definitely check it out.
Yeah, I've heard good things from overseas breeders.
I love that. I think it's 18-month shelf life as well. Let's see. Oh, add it. Okay, see, Red's right there. Add it weekly. Alera seems to love it. Yeah, that That's something interesting, Drew. Definitely with the honey, with the food drive. I've always thought since honey is so sticky that they would have maybe complications with, if they're shedding stuff like that. Maybe it's just overly concerned. I don't see it being an issue, but it's just you think about how thick honey may be. But I guess it's relative compared to how much food you're mixing it with. It
Yeah.
probably takes. Do you mix your food blender or cups, or how do you get it to dissolve and dilute?
We do a blender, and then we like put it into a ketchup bottle, and then usually that's just how we do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to not use the squirt bottle, but the good old blender, it's got like a pour lid on it. But for portion control, you turn it halfway and it just pours out. So we went the ketchup bottle route.
We definitely stirred up a diet conversation, which is good. It's good. It's all positive things. But yes, already, I guess they have bee pollen in their diet. You're saying that it's interesting. It sit right on up.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about Lagarde, unfortunately. So we'll have to see.
Uh-oh. We do a lot of the mix. Yep. We mix a lot of it up. We do majority of whatever we're feeding that day, but a lot of the time we'll have, a quarter of a cup of, let's say, Pangea from the last feed, and that's going to go right into the Rapashi as we move forward. So they get their little cocktails, their little mixed foods. Yes, that's another problem. The container size. It's hard. We try to get a little bit of everything to make sure that we have it here and there, but some of the stuff where they're sold out of the larger sizes, it doesn't make sense to buy the smaller size because then you lose the bang for your buck on it. I think that's more so your manufacturer issues of not having the resources to kind of fill the orders. Do you guys, outside of like ordering through the flawless stuff, do you guys ran into any stocking issues when ordering or picking up food? No.
Nah, there's a pretty large chain of pet shops here in Indy, so Uncle Bill's has always got us.
Yeah.
You guys got a lot of shops as well.
Yeah.
I think I can drive to 6 different ones within 20 minutes from here.
Because we have Ashley, Kentucky within 30 minutes, Charleston, West Virginia, and Huntington, West Virginia. So there's always something somewhere.
Oh, I didn't know, but somebody said that Pangea is working on new flavors. I guess that's do you guys find I do see that bananas in both Apache as well as Pangea. What other flavors are cross brand? I don't think Rapashi has a water. They don't have a water. I thought it was very unique that they both carry banana. So we always get banana and make sure that that's one of the brands that we end up getting. They do have a mulberry that's like seasonal. So we try to pick up some of the seasonal things, try those out. We like to try to get our geckos hooked on a little bit of all the flavors to see, hey, this one is better than this one. See if we see any growth spurts outside the normal scale range. DNA Dallas, he said they can go up to 1 pound containers. If you guys are not following DNA Geckos, go over to Instagram. He has a checkout system through his website as well. If you want to get your hands on some of that sweet reptile, hit him up so he can get it shipped out to you. There's Audra. She's doing some running around with the kids. Yeah. So, as far as storing food, we never get a chance to really, I guess, push the threshold of having food that's ready made for too long. Do you guys? I know you have a smaller. Both of you guys have a rather smaller collection, where you can make a good amount of food and it can last you for a while. Do you have a refrigerator shelf life where you don't want to use it longer than a week or 2 weeks?
I don't ever go past a week.
You don't ever go
Yeah.
past a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. We usually end up using all of ours by Tuesday. Or we make it on Tuesday and it's usually gone by Thursday. So it doesn't
Okay.
usually make it a
So you guys got it down into a science, yeah. But that's pretty much the same thing with the blender after blender after. I mean, big old 108-ounce blenders. I think we go through 4 or 5 of them a feeding day. The last
Wow.
blender you end up with like that much left, so it just goes in the fridge. But then that gets used up the next feeding day. So I think that's probably a good rule of thumb.
I feel bad because I usually end up throwing some food away at the end of the week.
Really?
And I know my big girl will eat it, but she can't have it.
You gotta keep her on the diet.
Yeah.
on the gecko diet, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Great. Well, we'll wrap this session up. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed yourself for this first, and you guys make this a regular thing. We're literally going to try to come out with a schedule. We've also got to get both of you guys on and talk more about the business side and put the spotlight on you guys. We're bringing that show back as well. We just had a lot of stuff, moving parts going on with both of the businesses, the kids, and all their crazy sports.
Yeah.
Now we're having the boys. We have 3 boys. It's 12, 13, 14.
True.
Yeah, 13 and
Wow.
14. They're going to be in the same grade,
So,
same school. And then we got one that's still in middle school. All of them play football, wrestling, basketball. It's getting crazy.
that's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite busy.
That's a full schedule.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's funny because now that we're home and it feels like that's more work than the geckos. Trying to figure out kids where they gotta be, and then when you throw in the mix of them waking up late, missing the school bus, and then you happen to, you want to kick their behind sometimes.
I remember those days.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember missing the bus on purpose.
Sometimes we hid behind the tree and watched the bus go by and said it missed us. We don't
Hey,
know.
we got cameras now, though. So
Yeah.
every single time. We got one more question. So, Frank, what are we keeping adults in? Drew, what size enclosures or tubs or containers are you keeping yours?
We use the new Pangea tanks that they just came out with. We've liked those because they're easy to assemble, easy to clean, and they're good for one adult, and we like that.
How long ago did they come out with this?
Didn't you buy some around Christmas?
Yeah, probably about 6 months was when they finally rolled them out.
What material are they made of? I'm on their website trying to figure it all out. What material are they made of?
They're PVC.
PVC, yeah.
So you can buy them in packs of 4. So before they did their spring clearance sale, we snagged I think 4 packs of 4. And the only thing is, you got to sit there and build them, but they're.
It's like Legos.
Yeah.
It's an adult Lego set.
Oh wow! When did you first see those?
Yeah, I can't remember. I just
December
saw
was when they started pushing them
online.
Huh.
Yeah, they've
ended up
made
seeing
a
them on
couple
their
new products.
Yeah, I saw that, and they made some new feeding dishes and stuff that we didn't try those, but I remember seeing somebody post a story of that new PVC enclosure, but I can't remember the dimensions of it. I'd have to go look.
They got the new smaller dish, the magnetized one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you have the one that's attached to the glass or the branch?
Mine's attached to the glass for my Uris.
Okay, yeah. I was curious about buying. I thought about trying the ones with the branch, but I feel like mine are clumsy enough that they'd knock the magnet off anyway.
They're really steady. I don't know if I'd use it for a crested gecko, but maybe babies.
Yeah.
Babies are great.
Yep.
Is this the one here?
It is, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, all right. I see where you get 4 packs. I want to give you a nice little net discount too. 4 pack for $329, or do a single $100. Awesome. Very nice.
And they look to be a bit taller in person. That website I don't know the picture, but it makes them look like they're almost square, but they're more of like the skyscraper type look.
Gotcha. I really like PVC. Everything works. Everything works. Disclaimer: use whatever you like. Preferably, we don't. If there was one that we would stay away from, just us, would be glass. And the glass, because it's heavy, the glass has gaps in it where, number one, obviously you can break it easier than anything else, but it doesn't hold humidity the same way PVC does, tubs do, the regular plastic containers. That's what I do like about all PVC products, honestly. We have it's not Gecko Junkie. Shout out to Tristan, he's a friend of ours. But we ordered them so long ago. What is this? Animal Plastic. Sorry. We have a ton of the quad enclosures from Animal Plastics. And their build time at that time, I don't know, they must have been swamped in business because we probably had 11-month lead time to get our enclosure. Yeah, paid in full and wait almost a year to get it. It is
wow.
But the quality is amazing. It really is. But I don't know if we would ever do that again. Just because the wait time was just way too long. By the time you receive them, you're going to probably need double that because you've probably outgrown that now. But for us, we have a bunch. If you guys are in the mood of binge watching in the comments, we have a bunch of videos. We actually built quite a few racks on our own, which we actually love. Didn't think it was going to work, but it did. We used depth paint to deal with the humidity, and we haven't had to repaint them or do anything so far. And outside of that, we also had a ton of PVC racks built by Top Tier in North Carolina. Matt, he's a really good guy. Actually, he's not too far, I guess, from you guys as well. Then, you're in Virginia, right? Or West Virginia? To Virginia?
West Virginia. So we're a little bit further from North Carolina. Yeah.
But
I think Charlotte's about 5 hours.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So for us, it's 4 hours. So we took the trailer up there, I want to say 4 times back and forth. But it was definitely worth the custom racks. Yep. And Frank said the same thing. Glass is heavy. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't think that they would put it out there as a smaller enclosure, especially being on Pangea's site. I think it's probably adequate. It's a personal preference thing, in my opinion. I think we need to give them hiding spaces, make them, obviously vertical enclosures. We receive a lot of questions. I don't know if you guys deal with the same issues, but we have probably on both hands how many questions we receive as far as, hey, my gecko's not eating. Can you help me? And we always ask the same thing: what's the diet? How long have you had them? What's the size of the gecko and what's the size of the enclosure? And then they come back and tell us at the end, the very last answer they give us is that it's 2 feet wide, 3 feet tall, and it's a 20-gram gecko. And I'm like, oh no. So it's crazy, but that's literally the answer every single time. And there's nothing wrong with big enclosures, really not. But if you have a smaller gecko, you're going to have to put several feeding stations in it. If it's something that you want to have like as a centerpiece in your living room or show off or whatever it may be, just make sure you have several different feeding stations. Every single time you feed, you're replacing that food in all the stations. But if you're going to have multiple geckos, honestly, I love the 12 by 12 by 18. Really, really do. Obviously, you're going to have your anomalies. You know, anybody with 80-gram females. I got to throw jab out there.
She's in a 24 by 18 by 18.
Yeah, but that's fitting, you know. So if you have a bigger gecko, obviously give them more room to go. But if you have a older juvenile gecko or an adult gecko that is 45, 50 grams, personally, I think 12 by 12 by 18 is perfect. If you're going to cohab, which is nothing wrong with cohabbing adult geckos together as a pair, if that's what you want to do, but then I will give them a little bit more room. You're going to have 2 adults in the same enclosure. We just need to make it gecko friendly, and it's not rocket science. Have fun with it. So last time, Drew, we're gonna get ready to sign off. Where are you guys gonna be this Sunday? Because you guys are vending.
Yeah.
We will be at the West Virginia Reptile Expo in Charleston, West Virginia, at West Virginia State University from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday.
So if you guys are in that area, you guys gonna take a little trip. Anybody in the comments or know anybody that want to go check them out and say, hey, stop by that booth, see what they have. You might be taking home your next pet. But that's pretty much what we for you guys this weekend. And again, stay tuned to our Instagram, Facebook, and here, and we'll try to roll out a schedule on what we're going to be doing, our lives, and the different topics we may be talking about. But hopefully, you guys had a good old time, and we're going to be signing off.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Sure.
You're very welcome. No problem at all. Enjoy your weekend and have fun at your show. Later.
Well, thank you. You too.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Bye.